From this studio in Havana, you are about to see Fidel Castro, leader of the successful rebel forces who overthrew the dictatorship of General Batista.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for symbolic moments that led to profound revolts with long-lasting legacies.
If only you had acted sooner, sir.
You think this could have been avoided?
Number 10. Shipyard workers' strike. Solidarity. It can be the smallest overlooked actions that trigger the biggest effects.
In one country in the Eastern Bloc, the opposition to Soviet domination and the socialist idea was more widespread and deeply rooted than anywhere else.
For Polish shipyard workers, it was the firing of Anna Walentynowicz just months before her planned retirement. It seemed like a simple dismissal for the establishment, but for workers, having endured unfavorable government policies, they just couldn't bear it. They rallied, demanding Anna's reinstatement, unleashing a tidal wave of defiance, starting from the Gdansk shipyard. Led by Lech Walesa, backed by the church and international community, the Solidarity Movement was born.
Wie kam es dazu? Also wieso schließen sich Millionen Menschen an einen lokalen Streik an?
Ja, es ging um Freiheit und es geht um die politische Gestalt der Welt. Sie wollten um die Gerechtigkeit kämpfen. Sie wollten freie Gewerkschaften haben, das Recht zum Streiken, aber auch Freiheit des Wortes, Freiheit der Presse. Und sie haben das alles auf der Liste von 21 Forderungen geschrieben. Es ist Weltkulturerbe, eine der wichtigsten Dokumente der Menschheit.
As the first trade union in the communist bloc, their strike swelled nationwide. Despite government repression, the movement endured, and by decade's end, it helped topple the communist system, transforming Poland. The uprising from Gdansk became a defining moment for freedom.
My naród.
We the people.
Number 9. George Floyd's death. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter!
Not all revolutions begin in parliaments or battlefields. Some start with a single cry for justice. That cry came in 2013, when George Zimmerman was acquitted for the shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin.
Verdict: we, the jury, find George Zimmerman not guilty. So say we all four-person.
Outrage poured over social media, and a movement called Black Lives Matter was formed. What started as a hashtag grew into a voice, confronting police violence and systemic racism. In May 2020, the world watched George Floyd's death under a Minneapolis police officer's knee. That moment reignited the movement on a massive scale. Realizing silence was no longer an option, BLM sparked mass protests with millions across the globe. Even in the middle of lockdowns, the message was clear: there's no room for racial injustice.
George Floyd repeatedly told the officers that he could not breathe after an officer knelt on his neck.
The family of George Floyd held a memorial in his memory.
Number 8. China's period of decline. Chinese Communist Revolution.
The 1949 Chinese Communist Revolution brought the group to power under the ruthless eye of Mao Zedong, and they've not even come close to surrendering power since.
China's path in history wasn't shaped by a single battle. It took centuries of struggle. As the Qing dynasty faltered, foreign powers carved the country apart, and Japan's brutal invasion left China with deep scars. In 1921, 9 years after the dynasty's end, the Chinese Communist Party was founded.
While the communists at this point offered more egalitarian treatment of low-ranking soldiers, and as the war raged on, more and more of Chiang Kai-shek's soldiers began defecting to the communists. This would turn out to be the decisive factor in the war.
Allying with the nationalists, the CCP fought against local warlords in a bid to restore the nation's soul. But the alliance collapsed as the nationalists turned to dismantle the communists. With Mao Zedong as leader of the CCP and driven by peasant support, the revolution endured. Then, in 1949, the tides changed as Mao declared the People's Republic of China. The revolution was complete. China's trajectory shifted, awakening as a new power under the Communist Party.
But then we thought that people always die in revolution. No death, no victory.
Number 7. Castro's fight against military dictatorship. Cuban Revolution. What happens when your country's democracy is stolen in a coup?
It's just the same as a car. Yeah, but mine's automatic.
For Cubans in 1952, when Fulgencio Batista seized power and established a military dictatorship, hope seemed lost. But not for Fidel Castro.
They cannot do anything. Public opinion is powerful in Cuba, and nobody
can opposite public opinion in this time. What they do is to be with the public opinion that have confidence in our movement and in myself.
First, he sought justice in the courts. When that failed, he turned to arms. His first attack on Moncada barracks was crushed, and Castro was imprisoned. For anyone else, that would have been the end. But not for him. In prison, he planted the seeds of the July 26th movement. Released and later exiled, it looked like he was finished. But in 1956, Castro returned with his rebels, waging a relentless guerrilla war against Batista's forces. By 1959, the revolution triumphed and Batista fled. Against all odds, Castro's persistence electrified Latin America.
The criminal ought to be punished because we don't want that never again in our country. Criminal can be the chief of policemen and of the army.
Number 6. Freedom of movement protests. Fall of the Berlin Wall. Sometimes all it takes to break a wall is the courage to say enough. That's what happened in East Germany in 1989.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
For decades, the Berlin Wall stood as a symbol of fear dividing the country. Inspired by Poland's solidarity movement and the opening of Hungary's border with Austria, the people of East Germany rose. It started as a wave of peaceful protests. Then, thousands fled west, chasing freedom and exposing the regime's weakness. The pressure built until the government conceded.
The Iron Curtain between East Germany and West Berlin has come tumbling down. East Germany announced today it is opening its borders, allowing its citizens to go anywhere they wish. The future of the Berlin Wall is now up in the air.
On November 9th, the East German authorities opened the borders, and crowds flooded the wall, breaking it apart with their own hands. By 1990, the wall was demolished and Germany reunified. With this peaceful revolution, communism's grip on Eastern Europe began to crumble.
It's wonderful. We have seen it in TV. It was super.
Number 5. Vincent Ogé's death. Haitian Revolution. Imagine being forced to work all day, under whips and cruel overseers, with no hope for freedom. That was the reality of enslaved Africans in Saint-Dominique. In 1790, Vincent Ogé, a wealthy free man of color, dared to demand the right to vote, leading to his brutal execution. His death became a rallying cry for the slaves, and within months, the Haitian Revolution erupted.
Nous sommes malhonnêtes! Tout ça me fait nous détruire!
Led by Toussaint Louverture, their rebellion turned the tide against French colonial rule. After years of fierce struggle, they won freedom, abolished slavery, and an independent Haiti emerged.
Mais je ne peux pas le sauver.
In the end, Ogé's sacrifice became a symbol, and the courage of the enslaved forged a nation. They proved that even chains can't hold back the fight for freedom.
But you know, as I and all the others, the spirit of freedom is not in a man, but in a people.
Number 4. Cinema Rex Fire. Iranian Revolution. In Iran, the anger didn't rise overnight. For years, people watched as Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi's rule deepened in corruption, repression, and Western influence. Although exiled, Ruhollah Khomeini persistently called for resistance, urging Iranians to stand against the monarchy. His defiance planted the seeds of rebellion. Then, the spark came in August 1978, when the Cinema Rex in Abadan went up in flames, killing more than 400 people. Many believed the Shah's regime was to blame. Outrage swept the nation, protests grew, and the streets thundered with defiance. By January 1979, the Shah fled and Khomeini returned. The following month, the monarchy was ousted, making Khomeini Iran's supreme leader. That fire in Abadan sparked a revolution that birthed the Islamic Republic. Number 3. Ruins of War. Russian Revolution.
Sire, the Duma also insists on your abdication.
Revolutions don't always come in singles. Sometimes they crash in like waves. For Russia, 1917 unleashed two in succession that changed everything. Battered by World War I and relentless German attacks, Food was scarce at home, and anger filled the streets. In February, the people rose in protests, and even soldiers turned against the monarch. The pressure grew, and Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate.
I shall abdicate for myself, and also for my son.
But the provisional government that took over clung to the war, and people's patience snapped. Then came October. Vladimir Lenin and the Bolsheviks seized the moment, toppling the government and vowing peace and a better future for the people.
Исполкома Уралсовета, вы, Николай Александрович, и ваша семья приговорены к смерти и сейчас будете расстреляны.
Just like that, with 2 revolutions in 1 year, centuries of monarchy ended, and from the ashes, Soviet Russia emerged. Number 2. Boston Tea Party, American Revolution. When is enough ever enough? For the American colonists, the tipping point came in 1773 with Britain's Tea Act, tightening control and protecting the East India Company's monopoly. Outraged, the Sons of Liberty decided they'd had enough. In disguise, they boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and tossed over 300 chests of tea into the sea. This act of defiance became known as the Boston Tea Party. The British government thundered back, condemning it as treason and hitting the colonies with the intolerable acts. Instead of submission, resistance only grew, and eventually the colonies came together, sparking the battles of Lexington and Concord.
But if they mean to have a war, then let it begin here.
The Boston Tea Party didn't declare independence, but it set a course towards it.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications.
Number 1. Storming of the Bastille, French Revolution. When the weight of inequality grows too heavy, even the mightiest thrones can crumble. In 1789, France was suffocating under crushing debt. Hunger gripped the poor, and the monarchy turned a blind eye. The Estates General, summoned to fix the crisis, instead exposed the gulf between the powerful elite and the starving majority. Frustration boiled over, and on July 14th, the storming of the Bastille sent shockwaves through the nation, sparking the French Revolution.
To the Bastille! To the Bastille!
What followed was chaos, sweeping reforms, blood in the streets, and ultimately the execution of King Louis XVI. The monarchy was torn down before the eyes of its people, but out of the turmoil, France was reborn, and the foundation for liberal democracy was laid. Which of these revolutions do you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments.